James Woods, a producer on Oppenheimer, recently spoke out about how power players in Hollywood told him to be invisible during promotion of the film due to the fact that he is a public Trump supporter. They mentioned his Twitter, they said. It was a problem for them. So let's take a look at the clip of his interview with Megyn Kelly from a few days ago.
There was a discussion about my Twitter, and it was gently suggested that I basically remain invisible. On the other hand, I'm a pragmatic person, and I thought a lot of people put their effort into this. So I'm just going to be an invisible pariah, because the people who are going to be voting for Oscars, which is very important for a film to get Oscars, because it does help with the financial reward and the historical archive in which it will rest forever. Academy Award winning Best Picture, Oppenheimer. I don't want to have some nutcase come out of the woodwork, fabricate some ridiculous story about me. I've had a million of them said, they're all lies. I don't want that to happen and have the clickbait story be, James Woods, the executive producer of Oppenheimer, we're not going to watch that movie. I wasn't even invited to the Producers Guild Award. I'm a producer on the picture, which is fine. Awards. By the way, when Oppenheimer came
so he was
out,
asked
there was
to
a discussion about
take one for the team, essentially, to allow Oppenheimer to not only have as big of a box office as possible, but also be considered for the awards.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked when we went into the movie and they were doing the opening credits and I saw his name there. It's because he bought the rights to the book that this script was based on.
Yeah, it doesn't seem fair, but at the same time, I feel like it would be hypocritical of us to say, you know, he shouldn't have to take a step back from his political statements, because we talk so often about how people on the left are way too outspoken about their political beliefs when they're marketing movies.
Well, that's the thing. They would not set aside
it has to be
their
a two-way
politics.
street, but it's not. So I don't know who acquiesces first.
What I think is funny about it is the more I thought about it, I was like, his pragmatism is smart and rational, and I honestly find it very endearing, and it's exactly why the right loses.
Well, yeah, only someone who is a Hollywood Trump supporter would have the emotional maturity to understand why they were asking him to be quiet for the time being and actually comply with that, because he cared about the marketing for the movie.
Because he actually cares about the art, right? What I was pointing out is like the leftists would never be asked to sacrifice, you know, sharing their political views in favor of the art, and they wouldn't do it anyways. If they want to talk about it, they will. Like, look at what Alan Richardson was doing after Reacher season 2 came out. They're like, I just imagine, I'm like, bro, like, read the room. Do you know who your audience is?
Yeah. Alan Richardson doesn't seem to understand what the Twisters director understands about appealing to a mass audience.
Correct.
But James Woods had to take one for the team. He also mentioned that a few years back, he was dropped by his acting agent over his political views. He tweeted out a screenshot of the email that his agent sent him. He called him a political liberal. The email says, "It's the 4th of July and I'm feeling patriotic. I don't want to represent you anymore. I mean, I could go on a rant, but you know what I'd say."
It's the most like wine mom thing on Facebook to say I've ever seen.
Even though it was a private communication.
Yes.
But then James Woods responded, "Dear Ken, I don't actually. I was thinking if you're feeling patriotic, you would appreciate free speech and one's right to think as an individual. Be that as it may, I want to thank you for all your hard work and devotion on my behalf. Be well."
Kill him with kindness, they say.
Yeah, is that really going to work though?
No.
Or is that, again, why we lose?
It is in a lot of ways. What's funny is like he mentions like he didn't want the clickbait headline. Look, they're going to write the clickbait article anyways. If you don't give them the fodder, they'll make up the fodder. They find a way to slander your name and to make you look bad anyways. I was shocked when this movie came out that there weren't more articles about, James Woods being a producer on it. But I guess that could be just because he kept his mouth shut and they didn't pay attention until later that's what happened, right? I'm picturing him at like the premiere and everybody walks out and like he kind of has to slink in last and they make him go to the premiere at the very end and he has to come in under cover of darkness because he has the temerity to vote for a different political party than the majority of the other ones.
You know who it would be that would boycott the premiere? Florence Pugh.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, it would be. I mean, I don't buy that Nolan cares. Like, I don't. I don't think that's true. But Yeah, it's just sad
Sources
that.
say Nolan is not one of them.
Yeah, well, again, keeps his mind shut. I mean, he's weird enough in his own right? Like he's got plenty to be weird about. He doesn't need to be weird about politics.
Well, we just don't know who the younger stars are that possibly feel this way behind the scenes or have been asked to remain silent about their political views behind the scenes.
And it's an effective tactic because it makes you feel alone. Like if you see the world one way and it seems that nobody in the world shares those views, then you're going to be even more reticent to share them. And that's actually a really effective strategy to keep people from speaking up about it.
It's just funny that being kind of normal and attractive and taking care of your appearance and being good at business is immediately interpreted as a political act. Like those are the markers for a plausible Trump supporter in Hollywood, is someone who is just normal and
so
not
you're in
screeching
shape.
at you all the time.
It's,
But Alan Richardson knew that, and that's why he felt the need to clear the record and clear his name of all of these conservative allegations. And
well, also
doing
his-
so
also
drove
being
away
religious.
his base.
Also being religious.
And also, being religious and outspoken about being Christian leads some people to believe that he was right-wing, so he had to come out and counteract that narrative and way overdid it.
You know what it made me it reminded me of? So yesterday, guys, I finally got around to watching Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I actually liked it. I liked it. I liked it. It was fine. Better than The Flash because it was shorter. I enjoyed it. And it reminded me that actress Michelle Borth, who played Mary, who played superhero Mary in the original one, did not come back for the sequel. And a lot of the speculation was she had the temerity to say that Ashley Babbitt shouldn't have died on January 6th. And people got very upset at that. I think her quote was more along the lines of like, what happened was wrong, but Ashley Babbitt, it was something like that.
Yeah.
She made sure to equivocate and say like, oh, it shouldn't have been an insurrection, but whatever. The point is she shared like one view that that was against what was acceptable at that time. And I don't know if that's the reason for why she didn't come back. What they ended up doing is using the actress who played the child version. She had aged out, so they had her play both roles, where she's both the superhero version and the child version. But is it hard? Does anyone believe that wouldn't happen? That we live in a industry that we see people working in industry where they wouldn't fire someone for views like that? They absolutely would.
This also reminds me of Letitia Wright's statement the other week, trying to distance herself from Daily Wire, who acquired distribution rights to the Sound of Hope movie. And she obviously, being a producer on the movie, didn't know at the time who was going to acquire it. And felt the need to tell everyone publicly, like, don't associate
She's
me
like,
with
"Look,
these political people, please.
Just because I made
Please
this movie
don't blacklist me.
doesn't mean I watch Matt Walsh videos in my free time. Just leave me alone." Also, look, that movie, like Shazam stars Zachary Levi, who's kind of it's kind of what I'm now deeming RFK Hollywood, which is like, if you don't want to be a Trump supporter, you don't have to be, but you can be you don't have to be like a Biden shill or a Harris shill.
He used to be a conservative.
He
used to be like a very conservative Christian.
Okay, well,
and now he's renounced Christianity and conservatism on this.
Publicly, he has?
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. On Joe Rogan, he was like, "I don't believe in a God or Jesus. I believe in the universe." And it's like,
Okay.
So he's like a Buddhist. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. The point being that like you can be somebody in Hollywood that isn't necessarily like a shill for the Democratic Party. You just have to be a third party candidate. You can't be a Trump supporter.
You can watch Joe Rogan in Hollywood without getting blacklisted.
But just barely.
Just barely.
Just barely.
As long as you don't talk about it too much.
And I've had friends in the past who definitely see like if you watch Joe Rogan, you're basically like you're alt-right adjacent. Like that's definitely a way that certain people see the world.
Ladies, divorce your husband if he listens to the Joe Rogan Experience.
It's really funny because just so much of the Joe Rogan talks, it's like, what, you don't like him talking about you don't like your husband learning about aliens or
MMA
or MMA, like which are things that guys
and
love
gorillas doing mushrooms.
Yeah.
It's the majority of it. I just, I just, this doesn't shock me, but the most important thing I think here is that the pragmatism winning out is a victory for the movie, but it will hurt them in the long run. And it sucks that it has to even be a problem, right? That
it would help him financially. It would help the artistic endeavor do well critically and financially, of course, but it's going to do the opposite for his political party.
It also proves that when it comes down to it, the movie makers probably don't care. They just want to make money, right? They're like, look, we want to make this movie. We don't agree with your politics and we think that it will harm the film, but we really want to make this movie. So could you keep it quiet? They're not saying you're the devil. If they thought he was the devil, they would just say they weren't going to make the movie. They would write it off and say, we're not making a movie about this particular movie about Oppenheimer because an alt-right Yahtzee, by their definition, is the one who owns the rights to it. If they cared about his ideology, they would have just cut bait.
If it weren't for Gina Carano, I might say that women in Hollywood get more leeway in this regard, because bringing it back to Letitia Wright, she voiced skeptical opinions about like vaccine mandates in the past. And I think that would have people, a lot of people put her in a certain
She's
box.
pretty vocally pro-life too.
I don't know. I haven't read her opinions about anything other than her vaccine comments, but you know, people would be likely to put her in a certain box based on just the few things that she has said about her opinions. And I think, you know, maybe if she were a male actor in Hollywood, she wouldn't have been granted the same leeway to continue playing Shuri in Black Panther.
Well, I think they were caught between a rock and a hard place there because of the death of Chadwick Boseman. I don't think they had the option to go any other direction because she was
maybe if that hadn't happened, she would have been axed.
Yeah.
Or just kind of quietly put on the shelf.
Who is more at risk for being pro-life in Hollywood, men or women? Like for being like ostracized for, or is it equal? Are they both ostracized?
Are there even any outspoken people in Hollywood who are pro-life who are really not even close to the B list? Is that even a thing?
I don't think you're allowed to be.
I was just driving behind someone this morning who had, like, I swear, 12 bumper stickers that were just all about abortion. There was no other social issue that this person felt was as important to them as baby sacrifice. And it really activates people, especially in circles like that.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.